All right, so guys, I welcome every one of us to the the partial fraction solution to the assignment given to Math 101. So this is a linear and a quadratic denominator. So whenever you see a partial fraction that has a linear denominator and a quadratic denominator, what you do is you separate. The linear term are going to be having constant variable, so the linear term will be having a over x plus 1 and b over x plus 1, while the quadratic term, regardless of the polynomial, as long as it is a quadratic denominator, it should always be represented with a linear function like cx plus d. So those alphabets A, B, C, D is not a constant value. So you can even decide to change all of these variable, right? You can change it to P, Q, R, and so on. So this is how to split the partial fraction first. So the first thing you do is by splitting it. Now, secondly, you notice that the numerator of this partial fraction is having the a degree of 4. So whenever you have degree 4, you are less concerned about the numerator for now. So just look at the denominator and see the type of function that you have in the denominator, be it a linear function or a quadratic function. So we delve into solving these solutions now. So step one, what we do in step one is we multiply through by the denominator. So as you can see, just like normal simplification. So what we are saying in essence is that the a term will multiply every other thing that is not a term. B term will multiply every other thing that are not B term. Cx plus D term will multiply all of the denominators that are not under Cx plus D. So that's just the pattern. A will multiply all of the denominators that are not under A. Similarly for B, similarly for Cx plus D. So we go ahead and simplify now. So by simplification, what you do is that you after expanding you compare, right? Those ones that are having s raised to power 3, you can see clearly that there is no term that has s raised to power 4, so that one is step aside. So what you do is that you combine those terms that are starting from s raised to power 3, s raised to power 2, and s raised to power 1. So by adding everything together, you combine everything together, then you compare, right? So those terms that have s raised to power 3, they are a plus b plus c equals minus 2. Similarly for s raised to power 2, they are a minus 2b plus d, which is equals to 4. Similarly for x, we have minus a plus 2b minus c equals to minus 2. So lastly, we have the constant term. Those ones does not have x variable, so they are only constant term. Are you getting it? So we can now go ahead and solve for the values of a, b, c, and d. So we are solving the system of equation with different. You can use different substitution method. So this is the way I chose to solve for all of the values. So you can see clearly the first variable that we solved out is b, right? So we start from a minus b minus d equals to 0, and we made d the subject of the formula. Then we substituted it back into equation 2 and made uh, it the subject of the formula, and we also substituted it back into equation 3, and lastly we substituted it into the last equation, and at the end of the day we have. So b equals minus 4 over 3. So that's the value for b. So we can solve for a, b, and a, c. So we are solving for the remaining values. the remaining values, and since we've already gotten b to be equals to minus 4 over 3, you just substitute it back to those ones that we already have on ground earlier. So by substituting it into 2a minus b 3b equals 4, we have a to be equals to 0, and similarly we have d to be equals to 4 over 3, and lastly we have c to be equals to minus 2 over 3. So this is the end of the partial fraction. So we can now go ahead and substitute all of the variables that we've gotten back to the partial fraction decomposition now to have our final answer. So you can now generalize the final answer of your partial fraction. So as you can see very well, you have 0 over x minus 1 minus 4 over 3 over x plus 1 plus minus 2 over 3x plus 4 over 3 all over the quadratic function that we already splitted it into. Now there are cases whereby you might not really have the time to start solving this because this is a computer based test, right? So there are ways by which you can easily sort out your answer. So one of the things that you have to do in getting your final answer, if it is a computer based exam and it is a partial fraction question, what you just need to do is you substitute all of the you substitute a value you substitute a value like 0 back into the question. Then so any value that is being substituted, just go to the option and substitute the same value into the option. Any option that give you the same answer as the one the question gave you, that's the correct answer for the partial fraction. Thank you.